Hi, I'm Kristen Horler, and welcome to our MomStrong Entrepreneur Network. Today, I am so excited to welcome our guest, Nicole Feliciano with Mom Trends. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much for having me as a guest today.
Absolutely. I have to say, here I am in a tank top down in Florida, and you are all bundled up. Where are you today?
I'm in my turtleneck here in Brooklyn, New York at the WeWork offices. So about a year and a half ago, I moved the business out of my home and into WeWork. And yes, I'm bundled up. I have like a hat, scarf, and gloves. But it's good. It's only about 2 blocks from my house.
Oh, how nice. Well, I don't mean to rub it in. It is ridiculously warm down here, and there's so many people driving down from up north right now because it is crazy. It's like 75 to 85 every day. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, don't complain.
Well, tell us, Nicole, a little bit more about your family, how old your children are, how long you've been in New York. We just would love to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure. So my girls are now 11 and 9, so I'm deep into tween age life. I have been in New York since 1997 when I started working here with Ralph Lauren. I grew up in Maryland and then worked in Chicago for a number of years. And then I was transferred from Chicago to New York to work with Ralph Lauren. And my career really progressed there. I learned so much from the management team there and still have a lot of friends within the company. And then was my last 2 years, I was working in the buying offices on Madison Avenue, and I worked with Mr. Lauren directly. It was fantastic. I bought the Black Label and Collection for all of the U.S. domestic stores. So at the time, there were about 45 stores that I was buying for. So it involved a lot of travel, a lot of design work. It was fantastic. But the thing that was not fantastic about it were the hours. So I fell in love. I met the man of my dreams. We wanted to start a family. And unfortunately, at Ralph Lauren at the time, there was not a role model or a clear path to the type of mom that I wanted to be, super engaged and involved. The mom friends that I have there either have stay-at-home husbands or they have 3 nannies. So they have sort of the daytime nanny, the nighttime nanny, and the weekend nanny. So while I am so glad that they're out there doing that work, it was not going to work for our family. So I started my own gig and started freelancing in 2004 when I was pregnant. And then when I had my daughter in 2005, my first daughter, was really focused on freelancing. And then I started Mom Trends sort of slow and steady in 2007. And it has grown as my girls have grown. And that's one of the things that I really talk about in the book, Mom Boss, was how Mom Trends has been able to grow as my family has. And that's one of the great things about being your own boss is that you can control the pace of growth based off of what your financial needs are and your family needs as well.
That's a really good point. It's so interesting because my kids are only about 4 years older than yours. And I think both of us, at the time when we were having children, there was, option A or option B. And so we both independently of each other decided to create an option C for ourselves, something that's for us and our families. And it's fascinating to see your business and your career evolve over the years. I love everything that you have going on with Mom Trends. That can you share with our viewers today just a little bit more about what Mom Trends is and then where you started from to bring it to where it is today?
So it started in 2007 as pretty much a straight up blog. When I started taking on freelance writing projects, that was when blogs were just starting and I was writing for online outfits. I would take any writing gigs that I could, go to get the experience of writing and learning how web content was created. And then I used all of that freelance experience to really start building and formulating the voice, the tone, the look of my own site. So from 2005 to 2007, I was still freelancing and working on my own site. Mom Trends was always a business in my mind. It was never Nicole's personal parenting journey. It was really meant to be a resource, a style resource for moms from the beginning, right. Which was great because as we've grown, and it's not just me writing for the site anymore, it's not just my face. It's never been about my children. It's never been about my personal experience, though it is about my aesthetic. it's been a big benefit. So that would be certainly something I would tell new people to take into mind when they're building their brand or their business. Do you want it to be all about you? Do you want to be replaceable and have the brand be about the brand? So just sort of keep that in mind. And then in 2007, I had left all of that safe, comfortable freelance work behind and 2009, really started focusing the next 2 to 3 years on building the brand to be a profitable one. And, that was really a lot of brand partnerships. Back in those days, it was a lot about sponsored posts and banner ads. Still, like the banner ads, the real estate that you could give to other brands was extremely valuable. And then we started doing events in those early years as well, where brands would come to us and we hosted influencer events for brands. So a little bit different than, marketing to the general mom audience. We found this great community of influencers in the New York City area. And when Baby Bjorn wanted to have a launch, we would put together a breakfast and we'd invite our blogging friends, and Baby Bjorn would be there and we would demo the product. We know how editors want to be talked to and pitched. We know the new products that brands have, and then we try to create events so the brands get what they want, the editors get what they want. And we've really found like this great niche doing that. So that's, one of the businesses that took us through those years when brands started shifting from banner ad advertising to more experiential advertising. So we kind of had that in place. And then we shifted our model to do a lot more sponsored posts, a lot more integrated content. And that kind of led to the third business that we do, which is outreach, which is when brands hire us to find other bloggers to write sponsored posts and campaigns. So now we have 3 businesses. We sort of have the Mom Trends business, creating gorgeous content, and some of that is sponsored. We have the event business that we do, and then we have the blogger outreach. So that's another thing that I really have always done through the years, is always be working on that next business, because one of your things that you're developing, it may change. Things may dry up, and it's always good to have something new in the pipeline that you're testing and experimenting with.
Such a good point. There's so many factors out there that are outside of our control, right? I mean, there's technology, there's trends, there's so many things that we can't control. I like the way you think. Also, I got a little insight into your business. Tell me if I'm correct or not, which is, it sounds kind of like you've got very strategic yet organic marketing taking place.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we really pitch ourselves to brands with is that we don't use cut and paste, with any of our programs. We always use original photography. Everything that we do is always put into the Mom Trends voice. So, sometimes that's not a great match for brands. If they wanted to, really be pushing something that is in their voice and their tone, we know usually to walk away from that as well. We love are just as much about the written word as the visual images that they're telling us. So, that's been a big differentiator for us as well, that we definitely, could have grown faster and bigger going after more mass media things, but we do what we do and we try to do it extremely well.
That's great. It's wonderful. So if you were speaking to a mom, a new mom who is getting into blogging, what words of advice would you give to her?
So the first thing that I would say is give yourself a break. Don't expect to become this overnight sensation. It does happen. It's fantastic, but kind of go at it slow and steady. When I was writing the book, Mom Boss, it's got the cover here. I can share with you.
Let me see it. Awesome.
So what I was really saying is give yourself some beta testing space. Developing a blog, or if you're developing a new product or brand, give yourself the space for beta testing so that you can show it to a couple close friends to take a look at it. Okay, is the voice consistent? What do you think of the visuals? Try a few different themes if you're thinking about starting a blog. Look at some different colors. Ask about the name. Is it easy to spell? Is it easy to find on Instagram? Can you get the same name, keeping it very consistent. So your mom trends on Instagram, your mom trends on Twitter, your mom trends on Facebook, and your mom trends on your website. You want to make sure that you can get all those things. Don't become so in love with one thing that if you can't get it on all those other platforms, it's just wrecking the whole vision of your business. But again, it's like parenting and motherhood, giving yourself the space to make mistakes and recover from them. So if you go out like with all guns blazing right from the start, it is a big, bold way to go, but if something goes wrong, there is that, the beta testing safety space that's really nice to have.
That's great. Yeah, it's, I look at you and I think about some of the new moms I know who are, they don't want to go back to work full time, but they're not sure what their other options are. I kind of think that they see themselves here and you here, and it's, how do I start something and even achieve what you've achieved? So I know we're going off script just a little bit here, but you should kind of stuck me into the story, and I'm learning so much from you. I'm loving it. So if you were to give a new mom blogger some tips on how to monetize off of her blog, where would you suggest she start with that?
So first, you're going to want to create some organic campaigns. These are probably not going to be paid for. A great way to start is maybe through an affiliate link, finding a product, brand, or service that you love, and it's very easy for you to write about. So I'm going to give you an example. Book of the Month Club does affiliate programs. An affiliate program is when you get a portion of the sale from a product that you're recommending on your blog. The brand isn't paying you directly. They're only paying you per item sold. So Book of the Month Club is the subscription service. You get paid for every new subscriber that signs up for Book of the Month Club. So say you happen to be a book lover, which I am, and you think, I can knock this out of the park. They're going to give you some images to work with on Book of the Month Club that you can use from their affiliate program. Or maybe you've signed up for it and it's something you're already receiving, so you can do an unboxing video live on Instagram. You can create all of this gorgeous content, and then you're going to make a little recap of what you've done. After you've created the campaign and say you've sold maybe 5 subscriptions from this one post that you wrote. And as a small blogger, selling 5 subscriptions is fantastic. You should be incredibly proud of that your influence was able to incentivize 5 people to take action on what you were saying. And then you've got this data that you can present to other brands. Here's the brand partner. This is how I integrated it into my content. These are the results that I got. So then you're showing that you've got vision, you've got follow through, and that you've got a sense of professionalism to put this all into a sheet. So once you've got that one sheet of a case study that you can present to other brands, it's really going to set you apart, head over so many other bloggers out there that you already know how to create campaigns and you know how to execute them. This is going to cost you nothing. I mean, if you're already a Book of the Month Club member or whatever it is, maybe it's a beauty product from Sephora, maybe it's a new baby carrier from Ergo, and then you use an Amazon link. But creating the content as if it were already a paid campaign is really going to show the brands that you know how to do this.
That's great advice. I love it. It's wonderful. I'm just dabbling into affiliate programs and learning so much about them. I'm not becoming a blogger, but I think there's a lot of moms out there who see this as an opportunity to share and inspire other moms. I think what you talked about earlier is something that's so important, is determining, what is the brand? Is it you? Is it your brand? Is it, the evolution of where you're at with your children? Or is this something that can last longer than just this time when you're a mom? So
and I also want to give bloggers just permission to blog for the art of it and the love of it. I mean, some of us are doing it for a living, and then other women just have a story to tell, or they want to use this as a moment in time to capture memories. And that is fantastic too. Do not feel the pressure to be a blogger like so-and-so. Do it on your own terms in your own way. And taking that pressure off of yourself is a fantastic way to succeed as well, because that way you truly can find your voice. And then some bloggers, I'm also loving this trend, some bloggers are using their blogs and social media to sell something sort of ancillary to their business. So it may be a direct marketing, it may be consulting, whatever the case may be. They're using their blog to kind of show that they are a social media maven, and then they're using their influence with sort of a third-party product or service that they can sell. And that is a fantastic way to stay creative with your blog and still keep it really about your family, stay connected on social media, but have a business that you can grow as the kids grow as well.
That's great. I love it. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. We could talk all day about your business. Clearly, you're such an inspiration. Let's shift gears a little bit, have a little more fun, get to know you a little bit differently. If you woke up tomorrow and you had lost everything, but you have all this knowledge that you've gained over the last decade with building your business, what would you do?
Well, I think that I would definitely stay as a community builder. I mean, I think it's just, what I do. This week, my husband's traveling for work, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, I haven't seen my girlfriends. I got to organize a dinner because, he's traveling. I don't feel the guilt for getting a girls' night out. I'm an organizer and I'm a community builder. So I think I would start looking at what platforms are available, and I would start creating, again, a community. Now, I would probably focus more on travel and fitness going forward because I'm out of the soup of the baby years. Our blog is still there because we have young writers and young editors who are still having babies and breastfeeding and changing diapers. God bless them. So
yes.
Bring
those young moms on.
Yes, I love you. But since it's not, if I had to start from scratch, I would probably focus on experiences that are more multi-generational. So it could speak to new moms who are, grade school moms, and then moms who have kind of college-age kids and beyond, and really focus on great travel experiences and focusing on fitness and health more. But I would definitely 100% want to create a website first, because I will tell you, social media is extremely fickle, though I think all of us have seen dips in our website traffic because of all of the other social media platforms. You need a home base that you can control, that nobody else can set an algorithm for. Google can control the SEO, but if you're sending direct traffic to your site, you can control that at the end of the day. So yes, we're always going to be intrigued on the new social media, what's happening next. I think that virtual reality, you're going to see virtual reality mom blogs 100%. They're going to be showing you how to swaddle that baby in the middle of your living room. But I think that you need to have your home base. So if I had to start over, maybe a different focus, but I would 100% have something that I could control the look of it and how it's served up to our community.
Right. And that's a really good point that you bring up too, because earlier you were talking about your brand and having consistency. As an example, Mom Trends. I know where to find you on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I know that that's the URL for your website too. So I would actually like to give some advice, and maybe you can back this up and provide some feedback as well, that if you are looking to start or launch a brand, go search for that URL first before you get on these social media platforms, because your URL that you want for your brand might not even be available.
Exactly. Don't fall in love with anything until you've done all of your research, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's great feedback. All right. So if you were stranded on a deserted island, which I know probably sounds kind of nice right now, what 3 things would you want to have in your backpack?
So I think we were assuming that your food and your family was safe and secure, because that's where my head went, first of all. So I think I said books on this one, running shoes, and then some sort of music. And I think I would be absolutely fine. Because, probably my smartphone too. Maybe I would trade music for some sort of connected device.
You're assuming you've got Wi-Fi on this deserted island.
Assuming I have Wi-Fi on this deserted island. But, I run, I do yoga, I do all of these things because I feel like it makes me a better mother. So I'm sure I'd probably start triathlon training there if I could get a bike, at least the swim and the run.
Excellent. I like the way you think. Thank you. So tell us the truth. How many hours of sleep did you get last night?
Last night was 6.5, which is probably average. I've got another sneeze coming. I tried to make up on the weekend. Oh, excuse me. I try to make up on the weekend, which I know sleep experts say does not actually work. But during the week, I'm usually about a 6-hour sleep girl. I'm always going for more. 7 or 8, I feel like my energy level goes up, but 6, I'm fine. I tend to not get sick when I don't get cranky or irritable. I can definitely exist on that. And I've tried being an early bird, but the problem is my family has like a radar. If I'm up early everyone is up early and everybody needs something from me, either like a permission slip signed, or, oh, can we craft? Can we read together? Or, my husband's like, oh, let's talk about vacation plans. So that is just like, they will find me and they will have all of these questions, which I love. I'm indispensable. But I definitely have found I get more work done at night when everybody's asleep and they don't need me as much. And I used to be such an early bird, and I still insist, like, I get my workout done. So usually after the kids are up and off to school, then I go get my workout in and then I go to work. But I used to be such an early bird. But kids, what are you going to do?
I think that's the thing, is you got to find your groove, especially as our kids are getting older, at different ages. It's not even fathomable to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go work out. You need your sleep. There's no nights where you aren't being woken up, and, it evolves over time. So it's great that you found a groove that works for you, and who knows, it could change in 6 months or 12 months, but it's sounds like it's working. So that's awesome. So tell us, Nicole, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is tomatoes. I can eat them in a stew. I can eat them on sandwiches. In the summer, we live in the city in Brooklyn, but we have a country house in the northwest corner of Connecticut. It is in a super rural part of Connecticut, and we've got a big piece of land there. It is all just near farms. It's honestly near nothing, but we do have a garden that we keep there in the summer, and the girls help me grow tomatoes. I have this ridiculous farmer's hat that I put on, and I love puttering around in my garden. And they're so great because they'll just go out to the backyard and they'll pick stuff for a salad, and they'll just eat all of the tomatoes right off the vine. So I'm so excited. I'm raising little tomato lovers too.
Can I go check on Mom Trends and find some pictures of you at the farm?
I think you might. There probably are some out there. Yeah.
All right. So tell us, what book or podcast are you listening to right now?
Oh, I love that you asked this question. So I am loving the How I Built This series it's the Guy Raz, the guy who did the TED Talk Radio. And it's a fascinating series about people who've built these superstar businesses. And there's a really good one from Ali Webb about building Dry Bar, which I highly recommend. And I really recommend it to parents whose kids are not traditional learners. Maybe all of your friends are sending their kids to these fancy colleges, and you're like, my kid's more tactile, he's more of a doer. And some of these TED Talk stories are so illustrative that not everybody succeeds the traditional way. So I think it's great for parents to listen to as well. And then book-wise, I just finished Erin Lochter's book, Chasing Slow. It is phenomenal. She is a blogger who built this great design brand, and she's really downsized. It's really embracing the minimalist movement. So her book is fantastic. And then business-wise, my whole team is reading this book about hugging your customer. I think it's called Giving Hugs or something. I don't know. I haven't started it yet. It's my next book, because I just finished that book by Erin Lochter.
That's great. Oh, I love it. And I love that you're having your team read a book too. We do this on an annual basis as well.
Yes, yeah.
To swap some suggestions offline. So tell me, what is your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote, and I think it's from Lord of the Rings, that not all who wander are lost, not all those who wander are lost. My husband and I, before we had kids, we took a year off, all of half of 2003 into 2004. And we traveled to 22 countries, mostly in Asia and Africa, before we settled down to have kids. And I definitely didn't feel lost. I actually felt more purposeful than I probably ever have before. And I am just a passionate traveler. Like, all of our free time, energy, and money goes into planning our next trip. We don't pile a lot of stuff on in our family, and we don't, my husband and I don't really give each other gifts. We plan our next adventure and our next trips. And our kids have already been to 20, 25 countries already. So we're raising future travel bugs.
Yeah, sounds a lot like our family. And the minimalist mindset goes along very well with that.
Yes.
It definitely does. Yeah. Well, that's great. And except when my daughter's age, and she starts talking about leaving for college. I'm not ready to think about that. Exactly. Oh, you're my baby. But it's been such a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better, learning more about your business, hearing all of your tips and your advice for mom entrepreneurs out there. So, Nicole, what is the best way for our viewers to get in touch with you?
So the best ways to get in touch with me, I would say that I am 100% of the person who is doing our Instagram feed at Mom Trends. So if you leave a comment there or DM me, you will always get a response, because I am, I love Instagram right now because I feel like it is a community and people are leaving a lot of comments. So that is a great way to find me. I will also, make one more shameless plug for the book. There's so much more about my story and business building in Mom Boss. And if we are also always hosting blogger events in New York City and in other cities as well. So if you email us, Nicole@momtrends.com, we'll make sure that you are put on our invite list for other blogger events and blogger engagements that we might be doing, because we're always looking for more people to connect with.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nicole, for your time. We really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a great day. We'll see you next week.